Okay, this is gonna be no script, rambly, West Marches diary video, so bear with me. But we're going to talk about the Foundry page and how I have that set up. We're gonna talk about the Google Forms and all the paperwork my poor players have to do. And then we will probably add on at the end some of the things that I added to the Notion page. I've already started the West Marches. It started today, actually. I have my first session this evening. I have 2 more sessions this weekend. So if you're looking to join games, go join the Discord. Let's talk about how I set up the Foundry. I have technically 3 Foundry license, 3 Foundry setups. So the first one is the player facing Remnant Foundry. This is where all of the characters live. This is where we're going to import and export characters to make it easier on GMs. They don't have to find D&D Beyond links or anything. They literally just import, export from this database. Then I have, of course, a GM facing Remnant Foundry. That one is for anybody who is a GM who doesn't own Foundry. They don't have to buy a license. Not that it is super expensive, and I highly encourage people to try Foundry because I love it, but I don't want to force my decisions on other people. Technically though, only one of the GMs currently will be using that. That is also where we're housing the DM version of the Foundry map. Then I also have the Cantrips Media Foundry, which is my personal Foundry actually, which also houses my other games, like for Drakkenheim. I will be using that for running actual sessions with people. Actual sessions will not be in the player-facing Foundry because I don't want to have it bogged down with a bunch of users in there. Pretty much just for equipment buying and character creation and character housing, as well as some roleplay if people really want to do it there as well. So we are currently logged in as one of my characters and a test user. You can see down here, this is my test user. So when you log in, you are on the landing page. The landing page has a little bit of everything. Of course, the calendar pops up, and this is the actual time in Remnant, as well as the moon phases for the 3 moons. There's also holidays and stuff, which I put on Notion. Up top, we have links. These go 2 places. So this goes to the roster, which is a Google Sheet, which we will talk about after. We've got the Almanac. That's the Shadows of Remnant Notion page. So this is the shopping form. So if you buy any equipment or anything, you have to submit that form so that it goes put onto the roster, and we're tracking gold and your consumables that way. Mission logs actually opens journal entries. So this is the actual character, Ursula Creed, her mission log from the session 0.5. I am going to be encouraging all my players to write mission logs in their characters' voices to put on here and give them extra points that they can use to shop at the Honor Guard shop, which will have like magic items, etc. If you need any basic equipment, all players can click on Archie. I won't be able to buy anything unless a GM is in here, which I'm not a GM at the moment. I'm a player. You can buy pretty much any basic equipment, rations, weapons, armor, basic equipment. We are not doing starting equipment. You actually have to spend gold to buy your equipment. That also gives them the freedom to buy specific things that they think they will need on adventures, etc. Once they buy it, though, they do still have to submit that shopping form in order to put it on the roster. If there's any discrepancy, we will be using the roster to make sure that your character is correct. And so they have to make sure that that is up to date. I want to trust everybody, and I want to, assume things will be hunky-dory and fine, but I do know that Foundry allows you to change so much pretty easily, and I have pretty open permissions, not everything, but I have open permissions on here to allow them to really fix their character sheet the way they need it to be. That is what that is for. Again, I have a little section here about the mission logs. Then I have these 2. So this is quest results. So at the end of every quest or mission that these players go on, they have to submit a form that tells me what experience, what gold, what items they found, that kind of thing, to put it on that roster again, just for tracking. And then there's also session feedback. So that is direct feedback to the GM, as well as where those mission logs can go. So their thing written in the voice of their character will be sent via that, and then we can put it on this server for them. That's the home page, the little landing page here. The other parts in here are, of course, Brighthammer Hall, which is our guild hall. So you can see everybody's characters are here, but this is the guild hall. I don't think my character's on here, actually. You still have Archie here over here, so they can still double click on him and purchase stuff over here. We also have a little practice ground. Someone didn't delete their templates, but they can come in here and practice some basic stuff. I might add something about deleting your own templates, but these are actual training dummies, so they can target them and that kind of thing. Then we have, of course, the keeper's office. That's over here. We've got the kitchens and storage back there. We've got a little like fire pit bar, as well as all the tables and stuff. This is just mostly for role playing. You can see my character hasn't been in here really. So there's a library, there's meeting rooms, there's all sorts of things in here. I did make this map and I'm somewhat proud of it. It's pretty good. Then finally we have the world map, and this is the player's view of the world map. You have this already toggled on, but you can see here, this is how you would toggle on the map notes. You can see them. There aren't any yet because, again, the first mission is tonight, and I do expect to put some on here afterwards. This gives a little journal entry here. If you double click this, this tells you how to add map notes and text onto here. I'm actually allowing any player to add map notes so they can fill this out, so they can click on this book in the top left to create a map note. And then they can go ahead and they can make the map note there, or they can even just make a journal entry under map notes, and they can be like, I don't know, honors reach. So now they have a map note here. They can drag and drop it onto the image, and then we'll put, I don't know, city, I guess, and change the icon size. I have all the details on what they will do. I fully expect them to not do this, and I have to go in and edit it and make it look pretty, but that's okay. Icon size needs to be, I think, 30. Yep, 30. And then the font size needs to be like 25, and then it'll put it on here. I don't think it changed the font size though. They can also add notes on here, so they could actually draw boxes and write notes. I'm not going to do that because I'm just going to have to delete them anyway. That is their version. So that is the player facing Remnant page. I also, of course, have a GM facing map. I can't really show all of this off, but I will talk about the two versions of the hex crawling map that I decided to go with. So the one that you just looked at for the player facing stuff, that is using Hexplorer, which is a module from the Ripper 93. It is a premium module, I believe, so I do have to pay via his Patreon. It is exactly what I need in a hex crawler. It gives me more than I need, honestly, because I have so many groups working in it. I don't actually have the tokens on here, but with Hexplorer, you can actually have the roll tables pop up and things like that, and I don't really need all that functionality, but what I do like is the ability to kind of paint terrain on here, as well as to reveal certain radiuses of information based on where the characters have been on the map. That's more why I'm using it than the other one, but I will show you the kind of built-in version of this. You can just use the regions tool to draw out something similar, and that's how I started to do things, but I ended up not liking doing that. So I'm going to show you using a map that is not my West Marches map because I don't want to ruin that surprise for my players. This is the Free Cities of Remnant map. I'm going to show that off just a little bit just so you guys can get an understanding of how I'm using it. And I'm just going to show you originally what my idea was to use the regions tool because it's built into Foundry, and again, I like to use the least amount of modules that I possibly can so that I don't have to troubleshoot things later. For regions, here's kind of why I decided not to use regions. You can use the regions tool on the left here. This is the regions control, and I have it set up just roughly, but here are the terrain types that I had on the left by color. And what you can go in and do is you can click on this polygon tool as well as this snap to vertices thing, and you can actually go through and draw grasslands. There's some over here. We can actually go in and draw all of these, and it takes forever. That's river. And this is exactly why I decided not to do it, because it was gonna take forever to fill in everything. Close the shape out, and now you can see like it's got a region. You can even like set things to happen, like behaviors, so it can open up certain things, trigger certain things, pause the game, whatever. So if you move a token in it can work like the Hexplorer one. The fact that I had to draw all these out and then like revealing them to the players wasn't really a thing I could do. I couldn't figure out, at least. And maybe there is an easier way to do it and I hadn't figured it out. But I have map notes on here too. So like I was placing roughly where things were on the map, and that way other GMs know, okay, that's what I'm doing in this area. Like here's that Shadowhound one, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. Put that on the map so that all the other GMs know, okay, like I put something here. 6 mile hexes are pretty big, so I fully expect to add more notes and things to each one. So that was how I wanted to do it with just the regions tool. I ended up using the Hexplorer tool, which will take me a small moment to set up on this map. So give me 1 minute. Now I've turned it into a Hexplorer map, which you can do by going into configurations, and when you have this little checkbox here checked, it's a Hexplorer map, and it'll turn it dark. That means nothing has been revealed to the players. It also gives you this tool way down here at the bottom. This tool, we'll click on it. We're gonna go to this coast just to like kind of show how this works. So let's pretend that this is Honor's Reach. Everything is not aligned properly, which is fine, but you can click this reveal button and then you can kind of paint what the players can see. I'll show off what it looks like in a second here. Another thing you can do is click on it. You can change the color. I don't know, green, we'll say field. And there you go. Oh, I didn't save it as. Click on it again and then hit save as brush here. We can use this to paint. So I don't know, all this is field. You can change the size if you need it to be smaller, whatever. And then you can paint all of that as one. When you go into token controls, you can toggle this for yourself so you can know what region the players are in. This is just what's been revealed. It doesn't reveal the color to the players, so the GMs can know and the players don't have to know here. So if you click on them, on each tile, you can have explore activities and reveal activities. So when it's revealed, what happens? And there's a whole bunch of options for that kind of stuff. You can run macros, you can reveal journal entries, you can reveal a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not going to be using most of these tools. It's mostly for just that look of there's a big dark world that they're exploring. I'm gonna allow them to add map notes because I think that's kind of part of the whole West Marches is for them to get information incorrectly. And then I think that could lead to some interesting interactions. So, but you can have it pop up roll tables when tokens move in it. So from a player's perspective, this is what they can see. It's just that little section and they can't see the colors. They can see these map notes because I haven't hidden them and that's fine. It's not a big deal at the moment. But that is pretty much what they can see. That's pretty much it for the Foundry stuff. I do want to just kind of add a couple things so everybody can see each other's characters. So that they can go in and read people's backstories if they really wanted. They are just an observer, so they can't edit anybody else's character sheets or anything like that, but they can see them and then see their public-facing backstories if they would like. The other reason I have them all housed in here is because then you can click on your character, right-click, and you can export the data and put it into another person's Foundry and then import it back in here after that session is done. But I think that's pretty much it. Next, let's just go through some of the forms, etc. So if we go ahead and click on this roster button, that's gonna take us to the roster. Surprise! And this is pretty much where everybody's character lives. This is a giant Google sheet that shows off pretty much everything. You can see here, like if you look at me, I have one character, and this is how much downtime I have because I literally just made this character yesterday. How many honor guard points I have, which nobody has any yet because we haven't been running any quests yet. But this is the character count. So up here is the form to go to, and this gives me a place to collect just basic your Discord name to attribute it to the right person, and then also the name they want to use on Foundry and just a basic password I would use to set up a thing. For them, I asked them not to make a password that's super complicated or anything, because it's just your Foundry character. That's the only data I have in there in the Foundry is your character stats. That is what we use to set up a Foundry username for them. Back to the sheets. So down here as well, you have different sheets for each section. So here's the characters, and we'll scroll to good old-fashioned me. This is where we keep all the stats. So her class, her species, she doesn't have equipment yet because I haven't put that form in. Then this is just her skills and things like that, just to keep track of those things here. Quest report hasn't, again, we're running our first quest tonight, but all of that's gonna go in here as well. If you have to level up, there's a form for that. All the forms are linked at the top of each one. So here's a quest report form, and that's the session feedback form. We've got the downtime form, so because people have been waiting around to do quests, they can earn gold with their downtime, and their downtime accrues for their entire account each week. At the beginning of each week, they get 7 more downtime that they can spend. This is the shop stuff, so you can see like what people have been buying here, and then that's a manual thing that I have a keeper copy and paste into their character sheet. This is mostly to keep track of consumables, just to make sure someone's not buying a million potions all the time. These are all the forms, so I can actually do a shop form right now. So if I go to this form, then we'll use my same email address. You have to use your same character name and everything. So I, of course, made my life difficult and have accents, which on this keyboard I don't have set up quite yet. Then you have the equipment shop, and then I'll put all the things that I purchased. So hold on a second. Okay, so here's items I bought as well as the gold I spent, and I'll hit submit, and I'll just show you kind of what this means. You could submit another response if you need to. Now under the shop summary, here's all the things I spent in the shop. So now as a keeper, I can come in, I'll copy this, go to my character. The gold will automatically change, so you can see it went from 200 to 29, and then I will drop all of my items in here. There's a lot of formulas and stuff that went into this, and I thank Burned Ice on the server who helped me. Actually, he didn't just help me, he did all of the formulas and stuff for me. Now that there's like stuff you can see in here though, I think it makes more sense as to why we have what we have here and why we have to submit all these forms. So it's a lot of paperwork to be a part of this guild. It is just to help make sure all of that is on track. Editor KYLIE here. So I went on for a little bit longer, and it was like 20 more minutes of stuff about the updates I made to Notion for the GM section. And since that's not really 100% finished anyway, I feel like I'm gonna update it after the session I ran tonight. I'll save that for another update. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe, and you might also like some of these other videos about setup. If you guys want a more in-depth tutorial on setting up with regions, or the Hex Explorer, like you want an actual step-by-step tutorial, let me know in the comments, and I can go ahead and put something actually together, script it, make it something actually functional, not just a brain dump of what I'm doing for my West Marches campaign. And of course, if you are liking this content, the best way to support me is through Patreon. There are tiers on there to get videos ad-free, as well as special live sessions with me, and of course we have a magazine. So if you want a copy of, where is it? There it is. If you want a copy of next issue, which will be coming out in April, then you might want to go over there and subscribe. I'm putting together the Foundry module, adventure module for the first issue right now. It's still in the works. Hopefully I can get it done on time in March, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.